Hey guys, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. So, an interesting quote from Swerve Strickland. I think it's the Battleground IHR podcast, the Battleground podcast. Not really familiar with that, but Swerve Strickland was on there. He talks about AEW's working standard. You guys know, you guys want to joke with me, call me Mickey Mouse Mike, whatever. Should probably get those ears, by the way, but you guys don't like what I say whenever it comes to AEW. It seems like that's what bothers you. Swerve Strickland had a really interesting quote about AEW that I need to highlight here in this video. So he said, quote, "You can't just be here in all elite wrestling just to be here. People second guess, can they just sign a contract and make an impact in AEW? It shouldn't be like that. It should be like signing with the Lakers. You can't just you can't just get to the Lakers and just expect to be in the starting five and run the floor and get playing time. No, you have to work. You have to be one of the best out there. Then you got to wonder, can you come to the Lakers? And then you got to work that much harder to stay on the team. That's what we want to always keep that standard in all elite wrestling." Okay. This is a very interesting quote, and I like Swerve more so than a lot of people in the fan base, because some people seem to think that Swerve rubs people the wrong way. Considering the way that AEW has been structured in recent years, where a lot of the homegrown talent has seemingly fallen by the wayside, like the four pillars outside of MJF, and Darby Allin has gone away, but Darby Allin has never really been really significantly pushed to the main event level. Jack Perry's been in and out. Sammy Guevara, for personal reasons and a lot of other different things, has kind of just, left, and, he's now been relegated to Ring of Honor. And even some of the cornerstones of the women's division, Britt Baker's nowhere to be found. So when you look at the way that this roster is, I find these quotes really interesting about the Lakers and working hard and getting things on merit, because look at who the AEW World Champion is right now. The AEW World Champion is Jon Moxley. I give him a pass because he's really an OG of this place. He's not a WWE guy. But Jon Moxley, before him, Bryan Danielson, he came in a couple years in, but Bryan Danielson's maybe the greatest of all time. Swerve Strickland, external hire. Samoa Joe, external hire. You have to go back to MJF as really one of the last AEW World Champions, where he was like, okay, he sort of built himself up on his own to be where he was. Let's take it a step further here. International champions, Kenny Omega. The international championship, if anything, is the one that's kind of represented hard work and homegrown guys. Orange Cassidy's been the champion. Takeshita's been the champion. And Will Ospreay was an external hire. So but it's just and then I know you guys are just going to dread this and you're going to just, spit all over me because you think I hate her, but I have to use this as an example if I'm going to talk about the subject. Mercedes Moné showed up in March of last year, has won every championship under the sun, and potentially in 3 weeks' time could be both the TBS champion and the AEW Women's World Champion at the same time, doing absolutely, positively nothing. She literally came in her first match and won a championship. Did not build her up whatsoever. Toni Storm, on the other hand, is what the Lakers represent. So this is kind of a mixed bag. And I kind of see where Swerve was going with this, but there are some pieces, look at who the tag team champions are. Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, who weren't even a tag team. They come in as the Hurt Syndicate, an ex-WWE act, and just win the tag team titles over a hardworking tag team in Private Party, who may end up in WWE. You look at this women's division, where are some of the homegrown stars that you were building off of? A lot of the homegrown stars that really is what made AEW endearing early on in its existence are gone. They're gone. And I hope Hangman Adam Page wins the world title at All In Texas, because at least that could be a step in the right direction. That guy's busted his ass because he was wronged in 2022 when they went with CM Punk. As much as I love CM Punk, he shouldn't have won the world title in that spot. Hangman deserved a longer title run. And Hangman hasn't sniffed the world title picture really much since. He's had a couple world championship matches, but this is the most high-profile match for him. Swerve built himself up naturally. He got over because of a dance and also like because of his music. But like I said, it's just you look at this and I look at that quote and I'm just like, listen, it somewhat is true, but then you look at some of these external hires and some of these people that Tony Khan's been paying inordinate sums of money to come from other promotions just to, get opportunities based off who they were. And the biggest example of that, whether you guys like it or not, is Mercedes Moné. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I've been really pissed off with her push. Some of this could be initiated on her, some of this can be on Tony Khan, but that's the thing. And when Swerve Strickland is saying something like that publicly, it makes you want, it's like, okay, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to be like the Lakers and talk about like, rising the ranks. Also, Lakers on itself is a weird comparison because they're such a flashy team. So it's like, just grinding it to build yourself up to something. The Lakers are one of those teams. So in this respect, the Lakers comparison kind of makes sense because the Lakers always had the most money. The Lakers could always spend out and always bring in flashy superstars. So if you were going to say this like in terms of baseball context, Yankees is a good example. The Dodgers, they can spend all this money, no salary cap, no restrictions, whatever. All these guys are getting in on based off of their past merits, and that's what AEW has kind of become. Is basically okay. We're just hiring a bunch of people because of what they did, rather than building up talent and talent, being pushed up the card because of stuff they've done within AEW. There are some people that are still there, but it's not all true. That's really what I found interesting about this. And like I said, I like Swerve more than most people, and I kind of saw where he was going, but then you see really flaws in his logic when he's making this comparison to like, a wealthy sports team where, you're down at the bottom and you got to work your way up. You can't just be off of your merit. It's like when you're saying that, and then you've got somebody in your women's division or you've got somebody in your tag division who literally made all of their heyday off of that gimmick and immediately get opportunities just based off of who they once were rather than evolving or changing. That's exactly the opposite of what you just said. So, like I said, Swerve's being a good soldier for AEW. And, he's said all the right things. He's been a good supporter. He's done all the right things. He's put over people when they need to. He was a good champion when he was there, and he got a lot of opportunities that frankly he deserved. I liked him in WWE, and I always thought that he was a potential star, and AEW's kind of capitalized on it. But yeah, like I said, this was a weird quote. I kind of see the point where he was going, but then you look at that roster that I've pointed out and you're like, really? I don't know. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.